All right, drawing and talking again. Drawing and talking with Nathaniel Sullivan here. Thanks for joining me. Yeah, just continuing from yesterday. I was going to continue with politics. Although, and I should say, I don't think it's going to become a constant. Certainly not going to become a constant of this channel. But yeah, I was going to say a few things. And again, I should emphasize: look, if you're interested, if you want someone who's going to cheer for Republicans or cheer for Democrats or cheer for one party as opposed to another, that's great and all. Nothing wrong with that. Just I'm not your guy. That's really not my. That's not my shtick. Not my thing. By for all sorts of reasons. But anyway, there it is. So yeah, what I was just going to touch on briefly was differences between liberals and conservatives, or what I see, or what I think is one of the principal differences. And there's some evidence, there's some stats to back me up on this. But I guess one of the real differences I've noticed, and again I see, is there are some statistics that seem to support this. Conservatives often seem to be in the situation of thinking that there are more of them. And actually there are more of them, as I understand. I would have to check the statistics, but as I understand it, you can find pretty good statistical evidence that more that more people identify as conservatives than identify as liberals. Conservatives, there seem to be more people who would self-identify that way. Now, what that means when you really break that down, that's a whole nother matter. That doesn't tell you what people will vote for, et cetera, et cetera. But that's not really the point here. There seem to be more people who self-identify as Republicans, and that gives Republicans. I don't mean Republicans, conservatives. There seem to be conservatives seem to self-identify in greater numbers than liberals, and this, understandably, and this is somewhat anecdotal, conservatives, and certainly in my experience, seem to have the sense that there are more of them than there are liberals, and they're right about that. This kind of plays itself out in that conservatives, there really seems to be a feeling that we can get things done, right? We can really push our agenda. We can really get things done. This is what we want to do, and we've got the numbers and the backing. We can really get in there and do it. Democrats, by contrast, it seems to me, it's a very different kind of thing. I think with my, again, I don't mean Democrats, I mean liberals. My liberal friends, I think if I had to try and sum it up, it would be my liberal friends, the battle cry is probably something like, we're ready to compromise. We're ready to cave. We're ready to give in. My liberal friends, yeah, they very much had the sense that they were in the minority. They were not going to get all of what they wanted. They were not going to get half of what they wanted. If they got a quarter of what they wanted, I think they would be pretty amazed. This, I think, was kind of the general attitude. And again, there's some reason for this, right? Numbers, I think, tend to support them. And I guess one of the things I really sort of notice is that in some ways it's better. I guess it's obvious that in some ways it's better to be one than the other. But I guess I would have to say that taken as a whole, this is really kind of helpful for the Democrats. Right? This really kind of works to their advantage, right? And the reason it does is pretty obvious. It's not real hard to figure out. I think what you get with Democrats is, look, we'll take half a loaf, we'll take a quarter of a loaf, and we'll keep taking, right? Or we'll keep asking for it. We know we're not going to get the whole thing. We know we're not going to get everything we want. We know we're probably only going to get a little bit of what we want. Well, yeah, but the thing is that can really be to your advantage, right? That can really help you because you don't. Yeah, I mean, you're just willing to keep trying, right? You're just willing to keep knocking away at it, and Obamacare, right, is really a great example. Right? You didn't get everything you wanted. I mean, I could find liberal friends of mine, and you can find them all over public radio or wherever you want, and you can find plenty of liberals who are just furious that you're not getting single payer, that you're not getting Canadian health care, right? That you're not getting, that you haven't followed the lead of Canada or some other countries, right? It's, liberals just furious about this. Yeah, there is that. But on the other hand, you got Obamacare, and that is, you got the ACA, you got the Affordable Care Act. And in all likelihood, I mean, I would be very surprised if it's going anywhere. I would be very surprised if you don't have something like that very much around in the years to come. It's just not really going anywhere. And that's what I mean by Democrats winning in this way. Because, well, you could, you could dismantle Obamacare. Obamacare could be taken away. I think it's highly unlikely. I think it's highly unlikely that it would be done away with. Now that's set in place. Part of this is that the Democrats, and maybe this is an advantage, although it has its downsides too. I mean, the Democrats are often described as a coalition of interest groups, and that what you see with Democratic policies is an attempt to move resources from non-Democrats to Democrats. That's fair, right? That, I think, in a lot of ways, that's a pretty fair assessment, and that's a pretty fair assessment of Obamacare. That, I think, in a lot of ways really works to the Democrats' advantage. Now, I think you see on the other side with the Republicans, and I think you certainly see this, well, the conservatives, I should say, not so much the Republicans. I think you see this in the recent election outcomes. The Republicans, conservatives did very well in the midterm elections that have just passed, and I think the temptation, but what was really striking is you can really ask about the victory in the midterm elections. What was it a victory for? What mandate was there? There was not, that I could see, really any kind of mandate. And I do not mean that as a criticism in the least. I don't mean that as a critical assessment of the Republicans that they should have, or the conservatives that they really should have put some positive agenda forward. That's not what you do when you're out of power. It's just not the way that this kind of thing works. So, it would be I think, very unreasonable to sort of criticize the Republicans for that. That said, I think you're now, I think the Republicans now, you kind of hearing these noises where, look, I mean, these very ambitious things are being put forward, right? We're going to repeal Obamacare. We're going to balance the budget in 10 years, right? We're going to slash spending. We're going to do all these things. No, I think, I mean, the Democrats, in some ways, in a lot of ways, I mean, just the long-term game plan, I think, is much better. It's infuriating for the base of the Democratic Party. It's infuriating for liberals. It's infuriating for hardcore liberals, but long term, it really seems to work. So, and I know I mixed up saying Democrat and liberal and so forth, and Republican and conservative here a great deal. But be that as it may, I think that the basic lesson is this kind of long-term, drawn-out strategy that the Democrats have, which just seems to be part of their DNA, not really even something chosen. It seems to have real advantages. It seems to be a real strength. All right, so thanks. Like and subscribe. Take care. See you soon. Bye.